How are you? I think I've pulled up on your street. Beautiful. There you go.
Cheers, love.
Absolutely. How long have you lived up here? It's gorgeous up here.
19 years. 2000 we moved in, and it was just a fucking ruin.
Was it?
There were none of this here. That willow tree were here, and these, but none of the hedge and the gates weren't here. The wall wasn't here. But I like it because it's down the end of it. What's French for cul-de-sac?
I don't know. It's not if you're pulling me back or what is it? Go on.
It's French, you silly twat.
I know. It's good to see you though. I haven't seen you for 2 years, 2.5 years.
Is it how long it is?
Yeah, I still like moustache.
Is it?
But it'd be nice today because basically, obviously, it was more like behind the scenes of the work. You mates with postman, I love it. I do that as well, don't you?
What?
Well, you got a regular postman, don't you?
Yeah.
It's nice that.
He's alright, him.
We have lift off, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, first choice. Can you get anything better
I don't know.
than Dire Straits? I mean, come on. What's the connection with Dire Straits, and is it something that you?
Well, this when this came out, I was just doing clubs, which I still do. I started at the bottom, and I like it here. I started off with nothing, but I've still got most of it left.
Right.
I've got an international agent. That means I'm out of work all over the world. But so I'm doing the clubs, and at the same time, my wife at the time was doing a double act in the clubs with a fella who became my friend, and he played a big white Gretsch Falcon guitar that he'd ordered from America, and it had all gold-plated fittings on it and all that. And he modelled himself on Mark Knopfler. And this song reminds me of him because it's all about playing at the weekends and being semi-pro and all that sort of thing. You know, you can imagine a band called the Sultans of Swing, can't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The clubs and that. So that's why I like that. And every time that comes on the radio, I always think about my poor friend who sadly passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a long, long time ago, but I still remember him because of that. He was a good lad, but he lived for the weekends, which is what this is all about. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Living to play, like having a boring job. I don't feel my age, I have to say, but I think show business keeps you young. I've got a young wife and a young family.
Go right or left here, Bill?
Left is a bit more countrified.
Beautiful.
I joined a country club once, and on the first night, they made me a member and everything, and I made a right dig of myself. And I went back a couple of months later and they wouldn't let me in. And I said, but I'm a country member. And the doorman said, yes, I remember.
Can I just touch your leg then? Sorry.
I don't mind.
When...
Don't we check hands first?
I like ukulele, I know that. I like that well.
Well, like I say, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I play bass and a bit of keyboards and stuff like that.
Do you still do... Have you got a whole studio in your house still?
Yes, I have.
And
I spend more time in there than anywhere else, to be honest with you.
It's a good therapy though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because yeah. I've just cleaned it out actually. There was about 100 tins of Stella and loads of bottles of alcohol and all that. Because what happens is we go and do gigs, right? And I've got a couple of guys who are lovely who take my van with all my gear in it, and they get to the venue between sort of 4 and 5 o'clock, and then they set all the equipment up, and then they'll ring me up and say, you're on at 9 o'clock, so I'll get there for about 8. Hopefully get me money before I go on. I go and do my bit, and then sometimes I go all dressed ready, and I just walk on from the back of the room, and when I finish I just walk straight to the car and gone. Then they have to pack it all up. Sometimes there's another act on, so they have to wait till they're finished. So they might not get back to my house till 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 and 2 in the morning. I've got to wait for them and pay them. So by the time they get there, I'm absolutely, up at night.
Yeah.
So then we sit up there, then because they both play music and sing a bit and all that, and we sit there and drink, and act daft and play music till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And also dissect the evening, what went wrong, where it all went wrong.
Right, break it all down.
Yeah, we have to do that every time, where it all went wrong. origin. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Nice. And it's only 1 o'clock. Come on, it's not bad harmonisation, yeah.
Oh, that's good though. Near where we've just been, there's a pub called Black Horse. And when I went 100 years ago, I was learning to play the guitar and working as a porter in a big department store in Leeds. And my mate was running folk clubs. And one night, I'd never performed anywhere, I don't know. And I'd been writing my songs and playing a bit in my dinner break at work and all that. So I turned up at Black Horse and the act hadn't turned up. So they got me drunk and I had to go out there and sing. And I did 5 or 10 minutes of my own stuff and this on my acoustic guitar. And they were, you know, like folk clubs when you dance out and nobody says out and it's all that whispering, you know, nobody coughs or
Yeah.
It was like that. So I was ever so nervous, you know, my bum was like a mouse's. But anyway, it went really well, and then I went and did it again the following week. But I hadn't got enough material to keep going back and doing new stuff, so I kind of dropped it. But I sang in a few pubs then after that. It kind of got me going, you know, this tune. That was one of them.
Nervous, the same nervous energy you get even from years back than you do now?
I spend my life shitting myself and being relieved. I do. I shit myself going to work and I'm relieved when I drive home. And the whole process starts again. I'm not really cut out for it, really. But I love it when it all goes fantastically well. But sometimes it's, you know, like only recently I did St George's Hall in Bradford.
And the new bit, is it nice?
Yeah, it's lovely. What they've done with it is brilliant. I spent a fortune. And the place is like a different place now, you know, the seating's lovely.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I sold it out. It's about 1,400 people, which is brilliant. And I did 2.5 hours, an hour and a quarter, and then a tea break, and then an hour and a quarter. And it was lovely. I couldn't put a foot wrong. Everybody was great, and you know, marvellous. And so I had a great night. And then the following night, I think that was Friday, Saturday night, I'm in Liverpool in a club just a club in Liverpool, and I knew before I went on they hated me. And
really?
Absolutely, they hated me from the minute I set foot in the building, before I even went on. And the woman, I was sat in the bar, in the lounge or the tap room, you know, away from the concert room. So there's only a few people in there, and the woman came up to me and sat with the lads, and she kind of threw this envelope at me and this book to sign, you know, to sign for my money. And she was all dead miserable and all that before I went on. And I said, well, it's unusual to get your money before you go on. What if I'm a load of crap and they don't like me? And she just went, like that. And I thought, oh. And Neil, one of me lads that helps me with the equipment, he said, you're going to have a right good night tonight. And I said, don't count your chickens, Neil. I said, you should never say that.
What's your favourite Beatle?
Well, I always liked John Lennon because he was a bit more... Lennon and McCartney, of course, were my favourites, but I think John Lennon, he was more rebellious, wasn't he?
Yeah.
As such. It's kind of sad, really, what all happened, but I mean, they were just phenomenal.
Great vocals, great songwriters, great harmonisation,
Yeah.
just lads hanging out, weren't they?
Yeah, but that all came from clubs. I mean, they were working live and doing Hamburg and all that, like 5-hour sets and stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, that's where you learn your trade, isn't it?
Do you ever
It's
get
like
to see
me
him?
and working men's clubs,
Yeah.
you know. So one fella said to me one night, I'm tuning the guitar up on the stage, and I used to have in the old days you didn't have an electronic tuner, it was a tuning fork.
Oh my
So you
God.
go ding like that, and then hold it between your teeth, and it played an A or something. So you tune up the thing like that. So I got the teeth, and the concert secretary, chairman fella, he comes up and he goes, it's 20 past 8, I want you on at 8:30. Right. So I went, oh, all right. right then, I'll just finish tuning up. He went, tuning up? What are you tuning up now for? You've known about this for 6 months. Right. Another one, he said to me, 3 spots between the bingo, right? So you have bingo and flyer and everything else, and it's like religion. So you do basically 3 half-hour spots, so you do an hour and a half. But if a comedian is on the stage, for some unknown reason, don't tell me why, 2 45s, still an hour and a half, but 2 45s instead of 3 half hours. So, when I started to become known as a comedian, I didn't want to do the 3 spots. I just got going, you know. Never got do 2. I've got loads of material. So, my agent come manager fella was going to let everybody know that I was now a comedian, and I was doing 2 45s and not 3 half hours. So I turns up at a club called Cudworth Village, where the bloke, the chairman fella, who was also the concert secretary, had a flat cap, a woodbine, and a whippet. And told Ray, hey, up now then, oh God, me there.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I'm putting my speakers up, and he goes, walks past me with flat cap on, Quiller, his name was. He's passed away now, bless him. He was a proper club man. And he went, as he went past me, he went, 3 spots tonight. So, and he'd gone. So I'm in dressing cupboard, going through the music with the organist and drummer. He comes in the dressing room, and I go, Quiller, what was you saying about 3 spots? He went, that's doing 3 spots. I said, no, I don't do 3 spots now. I said, the agent fella should have let you know I'm a comedian, so now I do two spots. He said, they don't fucking do 2 spots either. It's Saturday night. That does 3 spots. I said, no, I'm not doing 3, I'll do 2 now. He said, they're doing 3 spots, whether they like it or not. That's not coming in my concert room and telling me how to run my bloody club. That's going to do as that's told, and that's doing 3 spots. I said, all right, Quiller. I said, how long do you want then if I do 3 spots? He said, I want 3 half hours. I said, well, everywhere else I go now, I do 2 1 hour and 15-minute spots. He says, there's no fucking getting away with that here. Right, yeah.
Do you get the same, obviously doing clubs down south as well? Did you have that same kind of thing?
I only go down there on missionary work.
Right.
I don't go there if I can help it. I can't draw breath, I don't know where I am. I think I'm Bobby Davro. But I like it here, see? Can't see it,
It's
can you?
secluded, isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
And he parks his car there, so we don't get him twiddling round at the bottom now.
Where would you like me to park the
Anywhere
vehicle?
you like, love. Do you want a cup of tea? Or
I'd love a black coffee if that's going.
Well, this bit in here, this is where we are. I thought about taking this wall out, to be honest.
And have it all open.
Make it all open. Yeah, so they were going to be called Fred and Albert after the organist and drummer in clubs.
Right.
Because I always called them Fred and Albert. They played everything in 16s. Right. So we had to go back and only pick one. She gave us the money back for the other one. So we picked him. So he was called Fred and became Freddie. And the other one, his brother, was bought by somebody around here, and we see him walking about now. He's called Vinny. His brother, what was going to be
Really?
Albert. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? That's cute. That's really nice, isn't it?
So now I've treated myself to a robotic lawnmower.
Right.
I don't have any toys now. I've had boats and cars and sports cars and kit cars and all that. Last thing I had was a 44-foot sailing yacht, and I sailed it all around the Balearics, got me sailing and everything, and sailed it on my own. But I had to sell it because I weren't working, and I became very reclusive, and I missed my family and all. So I sold the boat. So my only hobby now is Albert, who's named after the Fred and Albert, who's my robotic lawnmower. So I go out and I follow him about, and that's about as exciting as it gets now.
You can come see that later on then, yeah?
Yeah, he's just gone home for a rest now.
Is it?
Yeah, he comes out about every hour or something.
Billy Pearce, comedy legend.
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. What's about yourself?
You know,
it's a mutual appreciation society.
Yeah, but do you agree? Do you know what? Some people, if you reach out to them and say, hello, would you mind doing this or whatever, people think, well, no, who the friggin' hell are you? Or they're not very
amenable.
hospitable. Yeah, yes. and they're not very hospitable. But you always have time. Not just you've given me so much time. This is
I
not.
try to do, mate.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in a lot of ways, the people that I obviously meet and chat to, they're the ones who pay me wages. So I always try to be all right. And in some respects, I mentioned earlier on about coming on in the clubs from the back of the room, but I'll walk round the room saying hello to people and having a picture taken and all that before I even go on. So then I'm already in the room and I've done my homework first and found out who's who. And then my music starts playing and I'm on and I'm off. So, you know, it's nice. And you can find things out as well when you mix with people if you like.
Does that help with your nerves as well then if you're going out? So
yeah, it does.
You kind of read in the room, it's like, all right.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, it does. I think it does, yeah. But I think not separating yourself helps a lot.
Right. In what way?
Well, like sometimes I can go in a club and I can get in through a back door and I go on and I do my act and I'm straight out the back door and gone, so I don't mix with them at all.
Right.
But in most venues, in the clubland environment, not in a theatre, but you know, it's nice to say hello to people before you go on and meet them and all that. Sometimes it's not very pleasant because you find out that they're all absolutely off the faces before you've even set foot on the stage, you know. Because that's what they do now. They get drunk before they get there, so they don't have to pay the prices. You know, if it's a hotel.
Oh yeah, well it's expensive, isn't it? Yeah.
So they'll have half a bottle of vodka in their handbag and all that, and that's just the men.
Your mum were a theatre school, a kind of principal, correct? And your dad was. Just let me get this right. Were he a piano player?
Well, yeah, but my mum had the biggest dancing school in Yorkshire, Pearce School of Dancing, and claim to fame was a television programme called Junior Showtime, which was all about young children, like a variety show, but for kids. So she discovered a lot of people, she auditioned them all and choreographed it and all that. It was a bloke called Jess Yates, who was the father of Paulie Yates, and, you know, a very tragic story. So my mum, that was her claim to fame really, but she, in the day, she used to win all dancing competitions and all that, and she used to choreograph all the local amateurs, and you know, which is where I came in, because they were always short of boys. You know, boys didn't want to do it because it smacked of other things. If you were in the theatre, you'd rather be playing rugby and stuff. So I never told anybody at school what I was doing. But when I was 6, I was one of them Siamese twins in The King and I at the Empire in Leeds, and that kind of thing. Yeah. So because I got roped in, so I think that kind of thing stood me in good stead for later on in my life. You know, when things started happening in different ways for me, you know.
And what was your relationship like with your parents?
Not great, mate, to be honest.
Okay.
I left home when I was 14 and I went to live with my grandma, who was wonderful. But my father was very overbearing and Victorian in his attitudes, to put it politely.
Right.
And my mum, all she was interested in was teaching other people's kids, you know. So it you know, the only way I could see her was really to be part of her life, not my own life.
And going down that kind of journey of theatre, entertainment.
I never wanted to do it. It wasn't something I decided to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an engineer and all that, and a porter and stuff. But then I made a decision. I joined a band because I was a stagehand at the Grand in Leeds, and one of the crew were in a band. So he asked me to be the singer. So I rehearsed with them, and they needed equipment and all that. So I got saddled with the payment, and they all split up and they all booked off, leaving me with all the to pay for all the equipment. So that was me, never in another band. And then a lad that went to my mum's dancing school, who was called Andrew Beaumont, and they're like a showbiz family. So Jane, his sister, she were in Strut Spare Cats. Nicky, who's head of sport at YTV. Tim became a theatrical agent. You know, they were all like all the cousins and all that. There were loads of them. So we went to Butlins as redcoats.
Yeah.
We used to catch people climbing over the fence and then send them back to finish their holidays.
Yeah.
And then came back and started doing the clubs. And then after a couple of years with him, we were both going pulling in different directions. He wanted to be more of the pop star, and I wanted to go more down the comedy route. So we parted company, and I had a double act with my girlfriend for a bit, and we went all around Norway and stuff, and lived in London and starved, and they were awful. And then eventually we parted company, and she joined a 3-girl act and finished up marrying somebody in Australia and all that. And me, I just started, eventually bit the bullet, because it was a big tough decision for me to go on my own. But as soon as I went on my own, and I realised that the money at the end of the night didn't have to be divvied up, to pay for the fuel and the thing and the agent's commission and all that, and half of what's left is yours and half's mine. It was all mine. So that was the bonus. Paul's with me in pantomime.
Full circle.
Yes, he were only here. He stayed here the other night because we had the press call and the launch.
Yes, you did. Congratulations with that.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it's funny talking about a pantomime that you don't have a clue what's going to happen. You've got to tell everybody it's a secret.
Right.
I'm not allowed to say all the gags and wheezes. Oh no, I can't say that. But it's because we don't. I've got a script in there. It's about that thick, like that. So I've got to sit up.
The journey from like your childhood and stuff like that, going through. You worked in Iceland, didn't you?
How do you know all that? When I was 16, I worked at Johnson Radley's, which is a place up at Pudsey, Grangefield Industrial Estate, part of British United Glass, and I was learning to be a glass bottle mould maker. So I was a specialised apprentice, so they cut the moulds out of cast iron, and at that time, when I was learning how to do it, say you've got a Coca-Cola bottle with the Coca-Cola name ridged up on the bottle, somebody had to cut that out of the mould with a hammer and chisel originally. It's all done by computer now, but they'd cut that out with a hammer and chisel on a concave surface in mirror fashion. So it's quite a clever thing to do, and it's all done to millimetres and all that. So that's what I was learning to do. But I'd only done like a year of that, and I got basically run over on a scooter, and I finished up having 2/3 of my liver out, my spleen, put my ribs through my lungs, damaged my kidneys, and so I was in a mess for long. I nearly died and all that. When I came out of hospital, I didn't want to go back to engineering. It just didn't, I'd had this experience of when I was 16 and people dying around me and all that, because they did. And so I couldn't settle after that. And the man who operated on me, I've got a big hole in my side here, but that tube had to be replaced. But they couldn't put me to sleep for it. But so they had to do it in the theatre. So the man who did all that, changed the tube in my side while I was wide awake, used to speak to me, called Jeffrey Wooler, who was a heart surgeon for Martel Tito. I won't bore you with all the details, but he was like Yugoslavia. And he let me go and live in his place because I got to know him and he liked me. And he let me go and stay in an island that he had, that Martel Tito would let him have a property on there called Cortula. The cruise ship stopped there now, but at the time there was nobody there. And I learnt a lot. I don't know, I was 16. So when I come home, I couldn't settle. And in the meantime, so when I was about 17, I met this Icelandic girl who was absolutely lovely. And I fell in love with her, and I finished up going to Iceland and living with her for a bit and working on fish stocks and all that, Reykjavik, which was a fascinating experience for me. And then I came back and started working, because I'd worked in the theatre, so I'd got me NAPK, National Association of Theatre and Kinematic, and I got a job as a dresser at YTV on Cézanne and met all these famous people. And then, like I said, the band and everything, and then I finished up going to Butlins when I was about 20, and then coming back and doing the clubs. So that's it, really, my life in a nutshell.
I don't think you'd ever change anything, though, the way it's all developed and the kind of like the paths opened up. I mean, look at you and Paul now. It's like you've rekindled again.
He's a lovely bloke, and I get on really well with him. I don't have, to be honest, I don't have loads of friends. I've got loads of people that I know, and I have got lots of friends, really. But when I say friends, I mean people that you're really, really bonded with and close to. And I've got one friend who's a comedian who does the ships all the time, called Rudy West. And me and him were on New Faces in 1986, and we've stayed. He's my oldest friend, I think. He was here the other night and all. And when people in entertainment, they never have a bad night. They'll never say, "Oh, lad, but we're awful." Whereas with Rudy and all that, we can talk about things like that and be honest and say, like the other night, I were in a venue, not too far away from here, and it was a mixed up of audience, but the room wasn't right. There was no stage, and there was no lighting, and there's pillars and posts everywhere. So only the front row can really see you. You know, the rest of them are only seeing you from there. So a lot of my visual stuff's gone out my act then because I can't do it, because they can't see, and they can't see the lights are wrong and all that. So you've got everything against you, you know, and like, so he'll tell me stuff that's happened to him when one night the police had to come and escort him out the building. They were going to kill him, the audience. Well, you know, I've been in those situations myself, so but not many people will admit to it, if you see what I mean. But I'm quite open. I don't mind. If I have a tough night, I'm happy to tell everybody. It's not it's not a cakewalk, like, you know, it's a tough business, and it can go very pear-shaped. Late at night, going on 10:30, 11 o'clock when they've been drinking since 7:30, is not a great time for a comedian, and my heart sinks if it's a hen party or a stag party. Hen ones, drunk women are there, bless them. I love them to pieces, but they're very difficult to deal with.
Yeah. How do you deal with a show like that then?
Good night.
But you're very energetic. You deliver. You've been like that throughout your career, haven't you? You're an energetic performer.
Because I want to do my best. That's
so
all.
What do you do? Is it something is it something you put you back in your head thinking? You tell yourself, yeah, it's going to be one of those.
I think it's just years of experience. But sometimes you can look at an audience and you know you're in for a tough time.
Right.
You know, you can look out over the room and you think, oh, that's going to be trouble. They're going to be they're already noisy, and it can be lots of other things. Like there's, it could be the act that goes on before you that puts them in a bad mood. Oh, right. Do you know what I mean? So the act goes on before you, and they're too loud maybe, and all the audience's ears are bleeding, and then their volume goes up. So by the time somebody like me goes on, and they've got to listen, they've already gone past that point of no return, and they're shouting at each other across the room and all that. It's hard to bring them back to be entertained, if you like.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say is that as a comic, when you stood there all on your own, you're kind of bare in your soul. Whereas I would wish sometimes I could just stand there and sing for an hour, you know, rather than having to try and make them laugh. Honestly, I don't mean to decry what anybody that gets up on stage, but as a comic, you kind of do bare your soul, and when you do die, it is, you know, it's painful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You must still have that same feeling, that same enthusiasm. You know what? Your passion. You've got passion.
It is a passion, and also what I would say to counteract everything that I've just said is the drug that I have is making people laugh.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful thing. It's like mass hypnosis. If you can get an audience listening and hanging on every single word, where you've got them in the palm of your hand, it is the most fantastic, brilliant feeling. Yeah. And sometimes it makes me almost, I'm laughing at myself, thinking, why are all these people watching me, fascinated with me? You know what I mean? What is it? You know, why am I here? What's it all about? It tickles me the other way sometimes, you know, when I think that. Especially if there's nobody in, like you're down south somewhere, at Southend or somewhere like that, and there's about 3 people and a guide dog, and you're on there, and it's just a sea of empty seats, and you go, hello everybody, all that, you know, and there's like nobody, and they're all sat at the back, and you've got to keep going, you know, to keep the persona going. So I have loads of, you know, I counteract that with, you know, gags about, you know, if I'd have known there were going to be as many as this, you could have come to my house, and you're going to get more than a joke each, and you should see me with an audience, and, you know, all those lines.
Yeah.
Because it's not their fault, the ones that have come in.
Yeah.
You can't slag them off because it's empty.
Right.
Like a lot of comics do that, you know, they slag the audience off with the ones that have turned up. Yeah. Whereas I don't. I try and make them my friend, and I say,
that's cool. That's
second half, come down here so we can. Why don't we all go to the bar, and I'll get a round of drinks. It'll be a lot easier and all that sort of thing.
But that's a very good trait to do, where you can sort of kind of take the piss out of
the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-effacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing.
Well, I think it disarms people as well. If you go in with an attitude, because people are frightened of comics, they're frightened that you're going to say something, and they don't want to sit at the front, and do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're frightened of you. And I don't want to, and they'll go to me when I turn up somewhere, and they'll go, Billy, there's a fella at the front over there, he's called Peter. Take the piss out of him, he's got a bald head. And I go, why have I got... He's bought a ticket. And I say to them, if he leaves me alone, I'll leave him alone. If he shouts out at me, he'll get slapped down. You know, because you have to control the room. You can't let them get away with murder. But I'm not going to insult them straight away. So it's like people getting up to go to the toilet. You know, if they've been sat there for an hour, but once you let one go and you don't take the mickey out of them, then they're all wandering about. You need to hit them straight away. Yeah. You know, if you get up and walk past me, you're going to get the piss taken out of you. It's massive notice, really. Yeah, you need to be in command. You can't show, even though you're panic-stricken. I can go on stage sometimes, and I'm not kidding. I'm so scared. I have to hold the microphone with two hands because my hand's like that, and I have to go like that. But I can't show the audience that.
How do you see? Because you're a professional. In fact, that's what it is. And I think you going back. You're speaking of audiences, and you say you get them in the palm of your hand. And you've got them there.
And it can go wrong in a breath.
Exactly, but the way you deal with something, for example, pantomime. Your 21st this year, isn't it?
Yes.
Tell me I'm right with that
It's
number.
because I'm cheap, yeah. It's 21 years.
21 years, which is an incredible running you're doing. It's unbelievable.
It's built up over the years. When I first went there, I were only like second or third on the bill. I always do the gag about, you know, tell them, you know, the Alhambra, the dressing rooms, they don't go up, they go down. And the lower you are on the bill, the lower down your dressing room is. And the first time I went there, they gave me a miner's lamp and a canary, right? But, you know, it were somebody famous, I can't remember, they were on telly all the time, Paul Nicholas at the time. And so he was quite not too bothered about the pantomime, and he'd got other things, irons in the fire. He got West End musicals and all that he was putting on. So I think it was quite happy for me to be on, you know. So he was on in the whole pantomime for about 20 minutes.
Right.
And I was on for about an hour and a half. So since that day, I've always been invited back, and, you know, I've kind of been lucky enough to be asked back every time, and I've worked with loads of people and all that, and I've been very lucky. But it's not I've done loads of pantomimes elsewhere. Bradford's the one I've done the most in, but, you know, I've been Blackpool, Graham, Bristol, Wolverhampton, Hull, you know, loads of different places. You know, I've been lucky enough to do it over the years. So, but Bradford obviously is great for me because I'm at home for Christmas, which is a horrible time when you're away from home, you're away from your family and all that. So, you know, that's a massive bonus to be able to be at home. Otherwise, you'd be setting off on Christmas Eve from the show, driving 3-4 hours, you know, all the way from London, having Christmas Day at home, and then having to get back for the matinee on the Boxing Day. So there's no life, is it? Whereas here, even though you can't get drunk or out like that because you've got 2 shows to do, I'm still at home in my own bed with my own family, and
that's nice.
It is. I'm a lucky man. I think I've got the balance about right now. So half the battle is being at home. You know, the Alhambra's beautiful, and I love it there, and I love all the staff as well. We've got to know them. In fact, we only went to a funeral last Tuesday, a week ago, for the lady that used to be front of house manager. You know, you get to know them all, and we're like a family, and
Absolutely.
It's very sad, you know. Yeah, so, but in that respect, I can't be my blessings. I think I've been massively lucky to be able to do that, to cut myself a little niche in Bradford. And at my age, you know, and it's the only thing left now out of the work. You know, a lot of work's falling by the wayside now. You know, the clubs are shutting. You know, they want the new boys, not me. I'm a gag man, as opposed to telling observational comedy and all that. I'll take my cap off to everybody, don't get me wrong. Anybody who gets up there deserves a medal for a start off, so I'd never knock anybody. But you know, times have moved on, and, you know, and I'm glad in a lot of ways I'm old. I wouldn't like to start again. I think that'd be hard.
So something like the pantomime is a huge kind of section of the year, chunk of the year, that is a big part of your life. How much preparation are we talking? I mean,
I'm behind at the moment with this
year. Have you got your script for this year? Is everything in? You got your script, haven't you?
Yes, I've got a basic script.
Right, basic script.
It's like a skeleton.
Right, go on.
Right, so you have to then hang all the meat and the muscles and everything else on that skeleton. So the skeleton's there at the moment, which is open to be changed. So what happens is, boring as it may sound, they come round, Ed Curtis, who's the director, who's a lovely man, and he knows how to work with me. And he comes here only a few weeks ago and brings me, we talk about it first, and we have a bit of a script and we go through it, and I put my ideas and my two-penny thing, and then he goes back to London with all my ideas, and then they bounce that back to me, and then I sit going through it all again, and then I bounce it back to him. And then, because we don't get long, we only get about a week really to put it on. So I have to learn it all my songs and everything. I go down to London and have to set all my songs in the right keys. The whole thing's put together then, and I get my tracks, and I put my stuff on my phone to rehearse with. I've got an app on my phone so I can, like a dictaphone thing. And I put everybody else's lines on the phone and I start learning it. And then as I'm going through it, I think, well, it'd be much funnier if we did this and much funnier if we did that. And what about it? And then when I get to rehearsals and I see how, like, Faye Tozer's going to do it, and how Paul Chuckle's going to do it, and all them, and I think to myself, oh, that'd be better if they did it like that. And you know what I mean? So I write stuff for them, like I did for Biggins last year. I wrote stuff for him in rehearsals. But you know, so which endears me to them. I'm a team player as opposed to, you know, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread and fuck everybody else.
No, but it's good. So improvisation though, I've seen you. It's my only panto I've ever seen with you. I mean, like only 2.5 years ago when you and I sat down at the Alhambra.
Yes.
And I noticed kind of the way you improvise as well.
Yeah.
But not in a kind of.
No, they have to trust you. You see.
Yes,
I always say to people that are with me, look, whatever happens, I'll give you the line. I'll give you the feed line. So if I go off on a tangent, which is about meant for two, I can give you I'll always give you the feed line. I won't leave you with egg on your face. So they learn to, which you have to do when you're out there in front of 1,400 people.
Yeah.
You know, you can't make somebody look stupid. You need to, you know, so it's a fine line that you tread because I don't like what you call in-jokes where the people on the stage, there's something happening on the stage which makes everybody laugh, but the audience doesn't know what's going on. Right, so no in-jokes at all. I don't like in-jokes. The audience have to be included. So if we've gone, you know, and I go, you know, I've forgotten it, what was my line? And they go, you know, I'll go and get the script. And I go in the wings and get the script and come out with it, as if I've forgotten it, or she's forgotten. But I'll always bring them back, even though we go off on a massive, you know what I mean? So they're not, they go along with the gag.
Yes, that's good.
And they're not made to look foolish, which is horrible if you do that to somebody, especially on stage.
It's the worst feeling in the world,
Yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
It? Worst feeling.
Because your confidence just goes and you're sapped. And Sarah Coggin, who's with me again this year, I think she's done 3 or 4 years with me, and she's a lovely girl. She's great. She's done Cinderella and Snow White, and well, she's Snow White this year, and all that wall stuff. I don't know if you ever saw that, falling off a wall, dead physical. And bless her, she just had a baby, and she's got a baby. She's an actress, and she comes up here and she has to get somebody to look after the baby while she's doing 2 shows and all that. And very pretty girl and all that, but you know, lovely. And the last thing I would ever want to do would be to upset her or make her look. She's a lovely girl, nice girl, you know, working hard and trying hard. And so, you know, I like to get the best out of people, and I don't think you get the best out of people by being horrible.
Exactly, yeah.
Some people do, like there's certain people that I perhaps won't want to name, but the way they try and get the best out of you is by insulting you and sapping your confidence and your strength, which is an important thing when you're in show business, confidence and strength in yourself. Even though you're not big-headed and you're not up your own backside, you still have to be a strong person to do it.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's going to sap that strength away from you, where you lose all your confidence, which some people can do that, you know, I have been with people who've done that to me.
It's awful.
It is, it's horrible. But luckily not too much, and now I'm where I am now, I don't get too much of that. It's when you're down on the, you know, it's like somebody said to me once, which is true, when you're second on the bill, people come up to you and they go, "You're brilliant, you are. You know, you should be top of the bill. You're brilliant." I had loads of that, supporting people, going around the country. You should be top of the bill. When you're top of the bill and you become top of the bill, they never say you deserve to be top of the bill because you're great, you've worked hard to get there. They say, what's the business like?
Right. Yeah.
They never say, it's all about the business. It's about bums on seats, the business. Nobody ever gives you a pat on the back and says, you deserve to be, you've worked so hard to be top of the bill. Nobody says, what's the business like? Is it paying for itself?
Yeah.
Have you got enough bums on seats to make it pay and all that? There's never it's a hard. Not that it bothers me. Don't get me wrong. I can't complain. I've had the best time, really. And I'm very lucky where I am.
And you're keeping going.
As long as I can.
You're not going to right, I'm retiring now. It's like, you know what, I'm going to keep going.
I can't afford to retire. Yeah. And you don't retire, the phone stops ringing. Yeah. Last British Comedy Awards, I beat Michael Barrymore and Ken Dodd on the day, which was quite an important thing. I think that's probably the most one. Then this was a Club Mirror thing. That's something from Blackpool Grand, which I've appeared more times than anybody else in the history of the building. That's from up front of house staff at Alhambra. Local Hero Awards, Pride of Yorkshire, I got that. That's a children's ride I did donkeys years ago, when the children's rides on telly. Mm-hmm. And I was the central character, take that with the top of the bill, and there was all these famous people on. And it was all about a ruby getting stolen from the British Museum, so at the end of the proceedings on the night, I nicked the ruby. Through the keyhole key.
Classic.
I can't remember where that was. Oh, John Lennon, of course, I'm quite proud of that, but this dates back, I mentioned it in car about him. That is actually John Lennon. It doesn't look like it, but it's an old picture of him coming out of what I think they did the Grand or somewhere in Leeds. And when I was at school, the kid, Mason man, got it just says love from John Lennon. And that's it, all faded away. But it is actually his own.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. A bit of dust now. Have you seen the dust on here? That's true. Thank the cleaner. We've got. Somebody said to me, "What's your bestest thing you've ever done?" And I've lost the picture now because it were on the end of there. But it was a picture of me on my wedding day.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So. But when all my stuff's lined up and all these awards and all that, and he said, "So what's the most important thing?" And all that, and I said, "It's that. That means more to me than anything."
Oh, that's gorgeous.
You know what I call my boat? My boat. I had a 44-foot sailing yacht, right, sloop rigged, and I absolutely adored it. I dreamed about it all my life, and I bought it in Mallorca, and it was called Premier Cru, which is the best of the first great wine and Premier Cru. Yeah. All that. It was all Premier flash name. Yeah. And I, which you're not supposed to do with a boat, but I changed the name of it to Free Billy. My mate, who's is round here and everybody, he's not so well known now, but he used to have his own adverts on telly, and he's called Mike Smith. And
Mike's Carpets?
Mike's Carpets. I've known him for years. He's a character. And his boat was called Ocean Lino. Ocean Lino, that's great, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Ocean Lino. I saw my mate walking round here the other day, and I pulled up and I said, "You want a lift?" He said, "No, I'm in a rush."
So Panto is going to be December, January, finishes beginning of February. Yeah. Right place, wrong time is pretty much October, November, isn't it?
All of October, and we come into varieties in Leeds. There's a few local ones.
Yeah. Clackeaton? No, you got a stand-up next week,
I'm doing
the
stand-up out there.
It's a great theatre, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Town Hall, isn't it?
It's lovely though, isn't it? It's like so local. Right, what I like to do on NovaMeets podcast with everyone.
Okay.
10 of the best.
What does that mean?
Well, you'll find out. So I want your quickest answer. What's your favourite theatre in the UK?
The Grand at Blackpool, I've been there loads of times, more times than anybody else, and I think probably the Alhambra as well. I owe so much to the Alhambra, who've been my friends and that for many, many years, and so I've got to say the Alhambra out of the two would be the Alhambra.
Favourite film?
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, what a film that is. Dog or cat? Which I know that's...
A dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? Night in or night out?
Well, it's changing rapidly. My wife's night out, and I'm a bit more night in. But I'm learning. I used to go out loads, but she's like a social butterfly, my wife. So I'm going to start
making a bit more effort to go out a bit more.
All right, okay. Favourite food?
Oh, I love my wife's cooking, and she does all sorts of different things. But I like probably an Indian.
Beer, wine, or liquor?
Did you read about the teetotal virgin that preferred men to liquor? I only drink to steady my nerves. Sometimes I get that steady, I can't move.
Really?
Yeah. I've just had my toes amputated so I can get nearer the bar.
Favourite holiday destination?
I think our favourite one would probably be Jamaica.
Never been. Never been. Yeah.
Yeah, we had one of the reasons for that would be we've only done it once, but Barbados were lovely and all, but Jamaica, when the volcano went off, we got an extra week there. We were stuck there and they paid for it all and finished up staying an extra week, so we had a great time, didn't we? Jamaica.
Yeah. If money was no object, Billy,
Mm-hmm.
where would you live? Where would you like to live? Which
Um,
I always find it's an interesting question. I've asked so many people that question.
If money were no object, I wouldn't have to work again, would I? So
yeah.
probably somewhere warm, I think. Probably Spain. We loved it over there. We liked it in Spain, and we went to a place called Madeira, which is on the Spanish coast, up from Benidorm, and it's a bit more upmarket. And we rented for 2 months, right, this footballer's villa, which was absolutely stunning, and the place itself, we fell in love with it. It was just lovely.
Are you an early morning riser or a late night?
Last night I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went to bed this morning at 7:30.
Right.
And there's no rules.
It's not right.
And sometimes if I've got my mind's going, I can't sleep. I suffer with insomnia, really bad sometimes.
You do,
I can go to bed and I can't get to sleep, and I finish up coming down here, having a cup of tea and pacing up and down and thinking about stuff, and I go back to bed.
Is it lines? Is it ideas? Is it?
A lot of it, I worry a lot about things. It's not necessarily show business. That's not the main. All that. Like my mum's just gone in a care home, and I'm looking after my mum and her husband, not my father. I'm trying to sort him out and dealing with social people and all that. And I wake up worrying about that kind of mundane life things. I can't. If I had a normal job like I used to have when I used to clock on at 8 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't live like that. All my life, if you think about it, for nearly 50 years, I haven't been. But I'm nobody's boss except myself.
Yeah.
So I can come home at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and stay up till 4 or 5, and then maybe have 3, 4 hours sleep, and then I can have a kip at dinner time, or else, you know what I mean? I'll go to bed early. Yeah. There's no rule. It's like the plan. The plan is there's no plan. I can get up if I have to do. Like this morning, I had to be up for stuff, but I'm not one to lie in bed all day. I can't do that. I'm usually up, even if I've had 2 hours sleep at about 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, my brain's too active, I think.
Yeah. Can you cook?
No, I'm crap. Is that your stomach talking of food?
That wasn't a trump. Good timing. Well done.
You want a sandwich or something?
No. Can you cook though? Can you cook?
No, I'm crap, love. I can do boiled eggs and things like that, but my wife is absolutely brilliant. And my son can cook. He starts at uni on Saturday, so we're very pleased that he can actually make things for himself.
All right, so just to finish off on the last question of the afternoon. 3 people dead or alive, that you'd like round this table, 3 people, to have a bit of a dinner party, a few drinks and stuff like that. And I want to know why you invite them 3 people.
Do you have to know people I know?
No. Not at all.
I think Graham Grumbleweed would be a great one, a fabulous raconteur and a very, very funny man.
Yeah.
Funny bones, funny man. Just looking at him used to make me laugh. I loved him. He was a funny man. It'd have to be somebody like the 2 Ronnies, or Tommy Cooper, or Morecambe and Wise, or them kind of ilk. I used to say Sue Pollard, but I have actually been eating out with her and all that, and she's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Sue Pollard. So and right now at this moment in time, I wouldn't really know, but I've got to a point in my life where I'm just happy.
That's lovely.
I say there's nobody got out I want,
Yeah.
which is a good place to be, really.
It's a lovely statement, isn't it?
Yes. It's like when people come round here, like you have, and said, I've got a nice house. and somebody said everything is lovely and all that. It's got a lovely atmosphere, and I said, yeah, but it should have a lovely atmosphere because every single thing you look at here, including the trees and the bushes and the curtains and the furniture and the walls and the ceiling and all that, has all been paid for with laughter.
Mm.
So it cannot be anything but a happy house, can it?
That's a gorgeous thing. Yeah, no, it is a gorgeous thing, yeah.
It is though, isn't it? It is. It can't be anything else but happy. So I'm right happy here. There's lots of people that I've met over the years who are, have left an impression on me, who are sadly not here anymore, like John Inman, who was a lovely man to me, very kind, and I loved him to pieces. We did some summer seasons and Pantos together. And there's a theatrical thing, which I'm kind of lapsed a bit really with, called the Water Rats, which is you can only be asked to join. You can't ask to join. Mm-hmm. They have to, propose, second year, and load up a boat on it and all that. So John was King Rat, and it was a massive thing at the time. And I was guest speaker at the Grosvenor House in the Water Rats Ball. Sat with Betty Boothroyd and Thora Hurd and people out of the young ones, what they call him, I can't remember his name, and Dawn French and all that lot, all sat at this table. And I remember going to the toilet for a wee, and I'm having a wee, and there's what they call him, Frankie Vaughan, remember him? You won't remember him, will you?
Yeah,
but he was right big a long time ago, Frankie Vaughan, having a wee next to me, and Joe Brown on the other side. Joe Brown on the other side. I was like gobsmacked. And I washed my hands in the toilet, and I came out, and a man came up to me and he said, "There's a lady over here who would love to meet you." I'd done a speech and it went really well, and so I went over to meet this lady who was very gracious and all that, and it was Eric Morecambe's wife. She'd asked to meet me.
Wow.
I know, I was like gobsmacked with that.
Do you know what though, Bill? It's like so nice to hear that so many people surrounded. Well, you've been surrounded by. You've got ultimate respect for. They've got respect for you. You've got a great family.
Yeah, I have.
And it's so nice.
It hasn't always been like this though.
No, hasn't it?
No, my first marriage was a disaster.
Right.
Yeah, I lost all. My son didn't speak to me for 10 years. I lost all my house, my property, everything. Lost all my money. I had a nervous breakdown and all that, and I had to literally start all over again. I finished up in a bedsitter and for a couple of years. Not very nice. But I always say my life's like a pendulum, and so the pendulum swings backwards and forwards, and one side is brilliant and the other side is shite. And most of my life, my pendulum's been in the shite side until I met my wife, who's been brilliant, and I love her to pieces. And so since then, my pendulum's been in the brilliant side.
Oh, that's lovely.
More times than the shite side.
That's absolutely lovely.
It is, but it's true.
Shake my hand. Thank you so much. No, seriously, thank you. Billy Pearce.
I hope it's all right, love.
I've been bored off walking on. Yeah, what I do now is just go around shutting clubs. I mean, the block before me, it was so bad, they were still going in while I were off. Somebody rang me up and said, "Will you do a gig in a fire station? Will you make them laugh in a fire station?" Well, I've never done that before, met people laugh in a fire station. Anyway, when I turned up, it's a fucking hoax.